Hello, and welcome to another week of the Xbox North podcast. We're already into our 10th episode. Thank you so much if you are a continued watcher or listener, thank you so much for, watching our episodes, our podcast. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be doing this with my three good friends. This has been a great experience so far, and just way more to come. This week, we're going to talk a little bit more on heavier discussions, especially regarding the gaming world. It's going to be a different feel for the episode. We're still going to talk about games. Heck, we've got some great stuff to talk about for games. We've got the release of the Ascent and Flight Simulator. Jesse, I hope you're okay. But yeah, we will be discussing a few topics that are not on the lighter side today, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's overdue. Now, before we start, if you've been watching our videos on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and also hit the like button. Feel free to leave a comment down. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you just want to find us on audio only, you can also find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts. Just look at Xbox North Podcast. If you ever want to message us on Reddit and Instagram, we're there. Just look up Xbox North Podcast. And for Twitter, we're at North Xbox. Joining me, as always, my three lovely, great friends. I'm going to start with my boy Jesse, who's downstairs right there. Oh. Jesse Pearson, how's it going? What you been playing? I feel like I sort of know the two games you're playing, but let's just pretend I don't. Yeah, tell me what's going on.
If you've been tuning into the podcast, and you definitely know the two games that I've been playing, and that's definitely the Ascent and Flight Simulator. The Ascent, I beat the prologue in it, and it was really, really cool getting into it. I dig it. I actually sent a text to you guys as soon as I picked up the first data pad, and I was like, I'm in. That's it. I'm cool. I saw a data pad. That signifies RPG to me in the most shallow levels. I'm good to go. And then through the prologue, it kind of introduces you to the full game, and I love it. And I'm looking forward to playing it with you guys, and I'm looking forward to streaming it. And Flight Simulator. That's my new thing. I've been wanting to play Flight Simulator for a long time, and now that I've gotten my hands on it, I've only done a couple of little flights just to get the mechanics down, but now I'm watching YouTube videos to actually plot my course on the Garmin 1000 and use all the instruments, and watching this guy start up a Boeing. We'll talk about that later, but
absolutely.
That's how the week has been, and two more bangers for Game Pass.
What a good month! What a good month.
We will talk about Flight Simulator later on, and I'll have to leave it there because I'll go on and on.
All I gotta say is you're gonna have to show me how to land. That's all. Just like everybody, and I know
it's really good. You just nosedive, right?
Yeah,
I haven't even attempted it yet.
Yeah,
you point your as you're coming to the ground, point your nose up to the air so it'll stop speed and
catch the wind a little bit.
Ease it.
Yeah. No,
I landed between two houses. It was fine.
Oh
wow!
Oh my God! Wow!
I landed right on a highway.
Nice. Well, I'm glad, and I'm looking forward to playing some of that with you. Dan Robertson, how you doing, my friend? How's it going? What you been playing lately?
Not too bad. Mostly I've been playing a little bit of Flight Simulator. Haven't gotten around to trying out too much in it. You're getting too technical because I'm still perfecting that landing. Like I was saying, I landed right in between two buildings. It was on a bit of an angle, just the plane.
Yeah.
So don't think I was scoring points for that, but unless they count style.
Nice. Did you get a chance to try the Ascent, or?
I haven't tried the Ascent yet, but I got it weighted on my Xbox. I also have another a flight game that I'm just itching to try out, some Crimson Skies.
Yes.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah. Well, also Dan's
we'll have
favorite.
To see how that goes.
Game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just some old nostalgic memories there, so that's always nice.
Yeah, two good Microsoft flight games in one week.
Right?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm good at landing in that game too. So.
Yeah. Well, that game is a lot easier. I'd say it's a more arcadey version, and that game I would love for a remake of that game right now. I think it'd be
That was the
perfect.
Rogue Squadron too. I always wanted,
Yeah,
Right?
right.
yeah. But I just like the story of it, and I just love the what was it? It kind of had this like swashbuckling kind of vibe as well. Like the characters were a little bit like like I forgot the story in some aspects, but I remembered like your hero is like that cliched B movie hero, and he's like very
It's like the
cheesy.
Rocketeer.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah.
Yeah, love
I
that
can
movie.
totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I tried a little bit of Squadrons too, but
Oh, okay.
just a little bit so far. So just flight games all week. So
Yeah. You're in a flying ship.
Let's get you landed.
picked up a gun in a week. Gotta play some Ascent.
Oh,
Yeah, for real.
oh man.
After
As soon
going
as
through Doom like that,
Ascent
you need
is-
it's like
It'll
get me off
get
the
you right
ground
back
for
to
action.
Yeah, beat Doom, then just straight to the skies. So
nice, awesome. Well, I'm glad you finished Doom as well. Doom Eternal, I'm guessing, or is it Doom? No,
Doom
okay.
Eternal. I've beaten
Nice.
all of them.
Well,
Wow.
that's awesome. Amazing. And lastly, my great guest fill-in host and my partner in crime that always helps me with these episodes, Josh. Josh, how's it going? What you been doing lately?
Oh, it's going good. Been working, getting a lot of sun, as you can see, taking the
Nice.
kids out and whatnot. But been playing a lot of Death's Door, so you can actually see the gameplay happening in the middle. So if you see me get my butt kicked, the game is a little challenging. So, but I definitely want to talk a little bit about the Death's Door right now because
Please. Yeah.
we had two huge releases this week with Flight Simulator and the Ascent. And I know Death's Door wasn't a Game Pass game, but God, that game is it is such a well-crafted game, very well-directed. The combat's a lot of fun. It has a good challenge to it, but doesn't feel impossible. There's a lot of good tells from the character. Everything has this very minimalist look to it, as you can see on screen.
Yeah.
And the color palette, if it's not a huge color palette, but it fits the tone of the game so nicely. And there's a weird quirkiness to the game that is very charming. And definitely, and you guys should try it if you have like extra $25. It's a lot of fun. It is. There's a part I'm at right now. I'm in like I haven't finished the game yet. It's kind of like a open world Zelda, kind of Dark Souls-ish connected world. And there's 3 dungeons that you go to. There's like 3 bosses that you have to kill in the world. And I'm at the 3rd dungeon, so I've killed the first 2. This is kind of I was surprised they threw this boss that's on screen right now at you so early in the game. It was kind of...
And just for the audio listeners, like right now, Josh is a little crow fighting a giant squid thing with a little lightsaber.
Which looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm
Looks cool as hell.
Yeah, like
Spinning
I'm almost
around.
distracted like right now. Like I'm like, oh right, we're in the middle of a podcast, but I'm watching this video.
Yeah, I started to get sucked in a little bit too while Josh was talking about it there.
I was like, yeah. No,
But the whole concept is you are like a reaper, and you go to this world to collect a soul, but you kind of get this new mission when you're there. You see this older crow, and he's in front of this door, and it's like, this is Death's Door, but I don't have enough souls to open it.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's these 3 like bosses in the world that have a lot of souls in them. They've been alive for a long time. And he's like, do you want to go kill them for me and take their souls? And you're just like, yeah, cool. I'll go do that. Let's open this random door. Let's see what's inside it. So I'm very intrigued by the game. I look forward to getting past this part because, man, this one part's kicking my ass right now.
Yeah.
An interesting choice, too, to have like the crow kind of represent or raven represent the like death and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, like a Grim Reaper.
Yeah, make it kind of like cute at the same time as there's always been like those, cute little skull devil or death guys and everything, but this kind of takes it to a whole other level because, you're a crow. Like, what are you holding
It's
that
weird.
lightsaber with?
Yeah.
Is it just your mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird though. They talk about this one character says, "Oh, you guys still wear beaks." I'm like, "What?" So there's something weird about this game world,
Right.
and it kind of reminds me of. I just finished Loki, and it kind of reminds me of the organization he works for.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of just like policing this other like
The time agency.
world outside of it, but you're like the death agency.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny watching Loki and then playing this, and I'm like, there is a similarity to it in that sense, and it's very much when you are in your world, so you can call it like an in between.
Mm-hmm.
And the in between world, it's all black and white, but it's all like office based. So you have like your own desk, and the little trinkets you get around the world, you'll see your desk fill up with the little trinkets. So you'll get like a horn or like a, just like little objects you get, and they're in color, which is
Really cool.
interesting to see because everything in that world is black and white.
Yeah.
But the game does a really good job of connecting areas. So you will go through, and it's very much like Dark Souls in that sense, or even if you've played the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So you'll go up and around this area, and then you'll open like a shortcut to it. So if you die and have to start at the door, you can just walk up to the shortcut and now go up a ladder and be right where you were.
Okay.
So you can cut through all of this area that you've explored and to get back to where you were. So even though like you're like, oh, I'm back at this door after I died, how am I going to get all the way back to this? You don't have to. You just go, oh, it's just up the stairs next to the door, and now I go up this ladder that I dropped down. So they do a lot of like interconnecting. You do the long way around to open little shortcuts on the way to where your like spawn point is. So they do a really good job of that.
I love that.
Nice.
So and it just makes the world feel super connected. You're like, oh, that's cool. I can just now just like cut and just go up here and go from there. But the game it's fun. There's a lot of cool mechanics to it. You get a lot of different items that you use. So you get like a fireball, you have a bow and arrow, and then you get this like almost like charge bomb that you can shoot, and it uses 2 of your white dots. So you have these little white dots underneath your health bar, and you have about 4 of them. So if you use your standard like bow or your fire attack, it uses 1 of those dots. But if you use this bigger one that charges, it will use 2 of the dots. And the way you refill them is just by attacking anything. So because you will use that in part of the game as like a mechanic, you'll have to shoot something over here or in a certain amount of time. There will be like little mushrooms on the ground or like vases you can actually just destroy, and it will fill up a dot. So as long as you damage something, your dot will fill back up to get it back. So there's kind of a risk reward because you're shooting these guys from a distance, and if they're more powerful, you actually have to go in and kind of hit them 4 times to get your melee, your ranged attack back. So there is a nice kind of push and pull. The game makes it feel like you have to be really quick with it, and you want to be, but you can take your time and just go through it. But yeah, the game definitely kicks your butt sometimes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's like Zelda rules then. You're just wandering around breaking everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of like
smashing pots.
Yeah. Bit of like Link to the Past kind of vibes, and I have to say, I think we're like in a golden age of like indie games right now. It might just be me saying that, but I like just look at it, the Ascent, and then you're just looking at all these games from like Annapurna Interactive that's coming in, and but just even this game, like I'm far more focused this than a random AAA game that's coming out.
Well, since you're so focused on that, how about we focus on you, Andrew? What did you watch? Or what did you play this week?
Well, obviously, I guess I should say the more obvious on Flight Simulator and the Ascent. And then while I was waiting for it, I was just like, I need to find something. I need to play anything. And I was just thinking about the Dead Space game, and I was about to download Dead Space, but then I was like, there's a Battlefield Hardline game that's made by Visceral. And so I was playing the campaign. It's pretty good. I don't know if you guys ever played Battlefield Hardline, but sometimes you're looking at that library of games and you're just like, should I download this? And then I ended up really enjoying. I'm like halfway done that. I'm doing pretty good. So
I kind of like the grappling hooks and the zip lines and everything.
Yeah, it was, and you know what? I kind of love Battlefield campaign games. I didn't realize this, but okay, maybe they're not all the best, but yeah, I'm in my head going, 2042 won't have a campaign, and I'm just like, but some of these Battlefield campaigns were just quite decent. They were like a lot of fun. There was a little bit more to do than like a Call of Duty campaign, which was always like thrown in a couple of hours. This is like a Battlefield game was like they had a 10 to 12 hour experience, and there was sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't. Finished the Ascent, and obviously we'll definitely talk about it. I'm still playing MLB The Show, just because, of course, right? Yeah, I'm an addict, and I need to stop. I need to stop spending my money on that stuff. But you know what? Maybe the Ascent will be the game. I think it is. I'm actually looking at it going, I want to play that game. I want to play that game after this podcast is over.
But the Ascent is not something you can take in like in a bite size, like like MLB. You'll still crush that MLB up and snort it up, so don't worry.
Oh my god, yeah. Hopefully there's no kids watching this episode as I randomly acted my cocainum. So yeah. But
that's
yes.
how bad it is. That's how bad of a problem we have.
You know what it is? I will say, I think just there's that times like everybody has that thing where like I just want a convenience thing for like 30 minutes after the finish of like your day, and you're just like, I want to eat and I also want to play something and I want to be able to like not really care too much about the story, so I don't have to like pause it, you know what I mean? Or I'm just like...
That's like the only thing that pushed me through Doom Eternal was just like, little bite-sized chunks, because you can have that quick start again or whatever, and just like jump back in, so I just leave it open on my console and everything, and just like, keep coming back, and jumping in there for 10 minutes and just rolling through some demons and dying a whole bunch, and going again.
It's gaming comfort food.
Yeah, that's essentially it. And what is it? I might seal the deal, and I might probably buy Death's Door. Just from everything that you just said, Josh, has been like exactly. Obviously, if you're an Xbox fan, you've been hearing about all the game critics talking about Death's Door. It's been everyone, from like Skill Up to every critic. Like if you're just any gaming outlet, you're watching everybody saying this is a Game of the Year contender. And so, I'm in, sometimes you just want to watch, play a game that's got like, it's going to be a little bit of an escapist kind of thing, and it might be a fun game. So I'm really excited for that. So, but that's the other thing.
There's too much, man.
I know.
There's too many games.
There's too many games. Well, the thing is, meanwhile, I also been watching games and their technical demos and their 90-minute discussions, and that's like our first topic of the day. And I know Jesse's watched it too. The Halo Infinite 90-minute technical demo where they featured a Slayer match, which I really liked. I will say I sat through it. It wasn't like the thing where I was just like, oh, I can't believe I watched this. It was one of those things where I just was like, this is meh, but it's Halo, so I should be watching it. I enjoyed the Slayer match, but I'd rather play it. I think it's really cool that they're going to do some cool stuff for newcomers, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a generation of players that's never played Halo 1, that's never played Halo 2, or the original trilogy, right? There's a lot of younger folks out there. But, after watching it, I just said, I think 343 is learning from all their mistakes from 4 and 5. And, they're practically finally listening to their audience, and they're also making this effort a good effort for Halo Infinite. I think it's going to be easily the best Halo game, and I think it's going to be the definitive Halo game. But what do you guys think? Jesse, you watched it with me. What do you think?
So what I got out of it and what I watched it for was not so much what they were showing, because
Jesse, your mic's a little weird.
Oh, yeah. I thought
Like Robo Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like a robot. Maybe turn it off and on again.
Yeah. But anyway, Josh and Dan, did you guys watch that? Or what did you guys think? Did you guys see any of the
no.
Slayer match? Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. Oh, well.
Okay.
We'll get you
what
back.
does it sound like?
It sounds like
It sounds like you're a
C3PO.
bit of a robot. Yeah. It's like you have a robot auto-tune
You ever
on.
try one of those like voice changers?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can still hear you.
We can still hear you.
Okay, well, I'm sorry for the robo voice, but what I got out of it, if it's not so annoying, I apologize. I don't know why it's doing that, but what I got out of it was I was watching the gameplay and sound effects mainly, and it looks like a nice, smooth experience. I like the sound of the guns that they're using and how quick some of the Covenant weapons were, and what they were doing with the weaponry, and I mean, I was really impressed with how it looked on the Xbox One and how it ran on the Xbox One, and I'm like, okay, so that's a good thing, because we know that the game's going to be able to run on Series X, and we know it's going to be able to run on PC, but how are the people who still have an Xbox One going to have that experience, right? We don't want a Cyberpunk experience, this very supposed next-gen game not being able to run on those consoles, and what I got out of it was running pretty good.
Yeah. No,
and I'm going to keep that short, because I don't know what's going on with my mic today, but it's just...
I feel like you just got to talk more like William Shatner. It'll just sound... You can be our AI.
Yeah.
I'll be AI.
Yeah. Or maybe...
Plug in, plug back in.
Yeah. Or whichever of those. But yeah. Speaking of, I do realize that there's a lot of people still playing on an Xbox One, so they're probably looking forward to a pretty, a good experience. There was all that talk about, hey, let's cancel the Xbox One port. I remember Halo Infinite being made for the Xbox One first, I believe, and then they, obviously realized the Series X and S was going to be launching, and then there was a big delay, but you're right. I thought the Xbox One version looked really good. Mind you, this is multiplayer, and it's still like a technical preview, but yeah. I did like, I will, come back and say this.
It's not like an alpha or anything like that, so it is pretty complete.
Yeah. No, what was it? I did like the newcomers thing that they were doing. Yeah, because I just felt like, sometimes you have some good matches in Halo, and sometimes if you're new to Halo, you're just like, why are these players so good? How did they figure it out? And like, you see the way, like, how to shoot people or strafing, right? Like in games, and especially in multiplayer matches, it's because Halo's a different experience. It's not like Call of Duty where like the hit spawn's like a couple of shots. You're shooting through armor. You're shooting through hit points and all that stuff. Like, it just feels, it's a different game, I've always felt, the way Halo's multiplayer works. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I don't know if what do you guys think about it? Like,
I
sadly didn't get it. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I sadly didn't get to watch the 90-minute full breakdown of it. I did watch some gameplay.
Yeah.
But honestly, as soon as I saw them do, like they vaulted over a ledge and was able to grab the ledge, I was like, thank you, please.
Yeah.
Don't remove that from Halo 5 because they didn't show that in the E3 trailer, and I was just like, please be in the game, and it was there, because I know they're not bringing things like thrusters back or like ground pound, kind of like gameplay tweaks they made in Halo 5 that they introduced that is sadly it doesn't seem to be returning for Halo Infinite, but the armor abilities and just the overall look and feel of the game, I think they're nailing it for sure.
I agree with you. I
always found their games felt good, but thank God there's a field of view because you could really see the stretched out look of the game. It just it looks like Halo, and it looks like it feels like Halo too. So I'm excited for that. And all I really needed to see was a bit of the gameplay because I'm already sold on it, so I'm ready.
Same here.
I didn't put myself in for the alpha or anything like that. But
me too.
That'll be coming soon.
Yeah.
It'll be coming. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to play it when it comes out. So
yeah,
it should be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do recommend for you guys to watch the like the training thing, because I was just like, hey, you know what? If we're trying to introduce like a friend to Halo, I'm sure like I'm looking at it and going, I think there's going to be somebody that's going to enjoy that, because I felt like sometimes when I introduce like a person who's never touched Halo, and I've done it a few times with the 360 games, they, like a few friends are just like, there's something about it. Like, I feel like I need to, and you practice them with multiplayer and all that stuff, but like, I think maybe a nice like proving grounds mode is going to be the best thing for it. It's just, I don't know what to do, but yeah.
Explain to me that whole proving grounds thing. Well, considering you watched the whole 90 thing, what is this like? Is it like if you ever played Plants vs. Zombies, there's kind of a lobby area that is playable?
Yeah.
Is it something kind of like that?
It's okay. So there wasn't like a lobby, but it's just a bunch of tutorials. So it's just like it's showing you how to like like where like your hit marks are doing, if like a player is like strafing, and like it's just giving you like practice with like, it's not just giving you practice with bots, but it's like giving you challenges to do and all that stuff. It feels almost kind of like there was like a Call of Duty mode that was like a cool little training grounds on it, but I remembered being like, it's not like you're in like a lobby and you're playing it, but there's just a bunch of these little modes and these little like just like brief tutorials on how to play a multiplayer match properly and all that stuff. But yeah, I just that's pretty much what I got out of it. They were not showing every little piece of like the menu and all that stuff, so I could be wrong. There could be a lobby like that. They showed some parts of the menu and of like that little mode and all that stuff, but they didn't show everything. They're still hiding a few things. So yeah,
it's like a practice almost. So like you can go and like test out weapons or test out like different like.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the YouTube show called Halo Mythbusters?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Watch that on YouTube.
Yeah.
They go through like, will a grenade be able to like get through a bubble shield or something like that? Like just like
test all little
bubble
sorts
shield
of
be able
things.
to? Yeah, can you put like it on top of like a flying vehicle and fly with the? They just test like any kind of thing. Will the sniper bullet bounce off this? Or they go through crazy things. So just look up. They go through almost like every Halo game, but
Mythbusters. Okay.
Yeah, Halo Mythbusters, Halo 3 Mythbusters. I watched a lot. So
amazing.
I feel like that. Forge essentially was their playground for stuff like that, but they can definitely work in some AI stuff because it sounds like there's a pretty robust AI system in the game now that, bots now in the game.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I even saw an auto shotgun. They're updating a bunch of the weapons and everything. I think I saw something along those lines of
be interesting.
Nice auto shotgun. That's always my favorite. Something like that. If I can get some slug rounds for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference between that and a machine gun really is, but I enjoy it.
The needle look a lot more powerful.
Was there in the gameplay, and Jesse, you probably saw it too, was there that, and remember in Halo 5 there was kind of like that iron sight mode?
Yeah.
The smart link?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you sound great now, Jesse.
Oh,
by the way.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, thank Dan. Now Dan
lost our AI.
Everything. Yeah, everything in the background. But did you see any like iron sight in the game or anything like that?
No, I wasn't paying attention to it like that. It just it it wasn't interesting to me in that regard, just because it was Halo. So I was more, like I said, I was more paying attention to just like them during the gameplay, not so much the content. But I really just wanted to see how smooth, because I'll find all that stuff out myself, and yeah. So it was more like it was more watching gameplay and in terms of like how movement was and sound than anything. Wasn't noticing anything.
Absolutely.
Which looks good.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
What about that equipment system? I like how now it's like a pickup that you can just apply at any moment, so you can kind of hold it off for a little bit, it sounds like.
Yeah, and how they are really going forward with the customizable skins. Even the weapons that you start out with, you'll be able to customize and have their own skins. And I think it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward, instead of like having, they were talking about, instead of having like the traditional red and blue, you know what I mean, having your own customizable skins and all that. I'm all for that.
Be amazing.
I was going to say, and I heard some complaints that, how am I going to know, like, that's another team? I'm like, well, how do you know in any other game, right? It's just like when you play with no vibration in your controller, and people are like, I needed to know if I'm being shot. I'm like, well, when you're playing PC, you don't need it on there. So there's always semantic stuff like that. But,
Every time the PC thing, I keep thinking about that random guy that like put vibration on his
his desk.
That's the best.
And I just go, okay, there we go. And then I go,
that a rumble pack.
All in all, though, I'm excited.
Yeah,
looks good. Looks
same
fun.
here. Just
it
more
looks
and more
fun.
Yeah, that's all I want Halo Infinite to be. I don't care it to be. I don't even care if it becomes a game of the year. I just want it to be a very solid Halo game, because I think it will be, and I think if they're doing everything that they've listened to, I'm not even going to check the reviews. I just want to personally play it myself, because I feel like the reviews are going to,
I'm very curious about the campaign now. Like, I want to see this touched up campaign, because I feel like the multiplayer, that look and overall, we know the feel of the game. That's going to be the gameplay in the single player. That's how it's going to play and all that. But the look, the graphical fidelity meter between the multiplayer and the single player campaign, I think it's going to be a little bigger than people think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the campaign is going to look a lot nicer than... you can say like the multiplayer is probably, to run at a high fidelity 100, because the multiplayer is the only thing that runs at the 120 frames per second. The single player will be 60 frames. So to get that higher frame rate for the multiplayer, I guarantee they probably toned some things back. But then again, when you're crafting a single player game and you have a scene you're crafting, you can cram as much as you want, whatever the system will allow you, into that scene, where multiplayer more has to interact on a bigger scale across, person playing it on PC over here, person's playing it on Xbox, and they're all constantly interacting with each other. And 25 people at this 25 people in the match at the same time, definitely the simpler look of it and the better it can run in frame rate just makes the overall competitiveness of that mode better.
So to touch up on how the campaign was going in terms of like the marketing and everything, I'm a little concerned, because it is the next Halo campaign, in terms of carrying on this story, and before we'd so technically what we should be a couple of months out from this release, right? We should start seeing some form of campaign story release, something to hype us up about the campaign and the story, and we haven't seen anything. Like,
True.
We see the demo, right? Never mind. Like about where the game is technically. We don't even know where the story is going, and for me that's a little worrisome.
We know Cortana has a uniform now.
Right. And
Wear
yes,
clothes.
exactly.
It's not even Cortana.
There was
Or
those little
Yeah.
tidbits, but like, it would be great to see a trailer relatively soon, kind of not going through the whole campaign, but absolutely having that cinematic kind of trailer feel that a lot of Halo games have had
Yep.
before.
Yeah, a little
right?
summary kind of.
A little
thing.
summary,
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
spoiling the story. But like, and we
Yeah, a
we
little
haven't seen
setup.
that at all for
I
the
think we're going to see
campaign.
a lot of
No.
that wrap up, or like start to ramp up after the summer. I
Yeah.
think the summer they're letting Game Pass shine and getting all those games that they're throwing at us right now that we've got just so much to play. I think pretty much right after the summer, as soon as like fall starts hitting and everything, they're going to start to ramp up a lot more Halo marketing
I can
stuff.
see that. I can see that.
Get
I can
everyone
see that.
excited for the
Yeah,
release.
they'll probably they'll start after their summer spotlight kind of gets over with.
As
I
we
can see
still
them
see
ramping
holiday.
up. Well, Halo and Forza is their two big games, so they're going to start ramping up those. To Forza. I can't wait for Forza.
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, Halo. I want a single player trailer. I want
Same
that.
here. Yeah.
Yep.
I want to
Actually,
see that. I want to see some of the characters
Yeah.
we're going to be interacting with. I want that hype trailer. I want that Mass Effect 2 launch trailer, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
you watch that Mass Effect 2 launch trailer?
Ooh.
Dude, if you're
that
not
was good.
standing up in your chair going like, Mass Effect 2, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like,
That was a great trailer.
So,
Yep.
no, that's a fantastic trailer. I want my Mass Effect 2 trailer.
I remember, I'm going to say something right now, because we were talking for Halo a while, but I think I remember almost every great Halo trailer commercial.
Yeah.
I think like starting from Halo 2,
Yeah.
because I think Halo 1 didn't have a big marketing campaign, because obviously they didn't.
No.
But Halo 2 had an
2 did.
amazing one.
Yes.
3 had one that was almost like brought
That you
to
can't stick
tears.
it.
Yeah.
And
that
4,
oh
so
my
did
God.
4. They all,
Oh my God.
and so did 5. They all had.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hunt the Truth?
Yeah.
Did you listen
was
to
so misleading.
There was but there was this podcast that they did before.
Yeah.
And it was just like a story podcast. It was, and it was fantastic. It was called Hunt the Truth, and it was such a good story. And I was like, oh, I'm so ready for this. And then you play the game, you're like, nothing like this podcast. Story thing they did.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the it was like these like Saving Private Ryan inspired things where there's these old people that were like, this was the thing, and I remember being like, this is. It might be cheesy.
Chief.
I remember Chief, and if it wasn't for him, he'd saved my life. Kind of, like that was literally it. But the thing is, it was so
great
touching.
Real life
it was so touching. It was so damn. It's so good. I think probably my favorite one was probably the Halo Reach one that Jesse, I think I showed you where. Well, I'm sure you all played Halo Reach, but it was actually it was that one where the guy throws the nuke at like the Covenant thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know the story of that? So
yes, that's the
character
previous Noble Six.
Yeah. So that is Noble Six who dies in that cutscene, and you take his place.
Yeah.
So that whole cutscene of him throwing the bomb, that's not just a marketing campaign. That's actually the story.
Yeah.
It's the story of the character who dies and you replace him.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, because there's a great line where what was it? Carter said, "You're falling under, I
feel like that should be in the game itself. It should be like 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 when you start a video game and they'll show like a cutscene, and before it says like Microsoft or something like that, and you usually just can skip by it. Yeah, they should be showing that trailer because I feel like that trailer is meaningful in that sense.
Yeah. Reach was such a great book to like pull you in and everything too. Like so many great like exploration into the lore of the whole universe in that game. Because you went from all these Halo games just following Master Chief and everything, and then you get kind of like a look at his past and a look at like what's happening to Reach and everything.
I almost feel like it was the first of its kind too in that sense because this was back in like 2001. Yes,
or 2001 Eric Nyland.
Yeah,
you're right.
And there's been always like tie-in stuff, but I feel like at that scale, and I feel like they brought it in brought it to the gaming space in a big way. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Warcraft books. Yeah, I feel like World of Warcraft and Halo really were the genesis for moving, well, not movie tie-in books. Those have existed forever, but tie-in video game books.
Yeah.
For sure.
Before we finish off with Halo, because I do want to move on, but fun fact, Follow Reach, I did a book report on that. And my teacher's like, "Oh, there's not a video game," and I'm like, "No," and then I just like give this whole thing about, and it's in the Planet Reach, and I'm like explaining everything, and I realized when I was a kid I couldn't read for like shit, like anything I was with like large pages, I'm like, there's no image, there's no, it's not a graphic novel. I would just be like, there's so many pages, but it was like the first time where I was like,
I want to know.
Yeah, but I remember being like, I don't know why. I'm like I'd be like really enjoying the lore of it. So that's a fun fact about it. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on, and we'll talk about something that obviously we all kind of briefly talked about, but I want to go on because this game also has it's a new game, it's an entry, and we just briefly talked about it. Just launched today as we're recording. We've all just
barely touched it.
We've all barely touched it. Dan, you haven't touched it yet, but the Ascent. All I'm going to say is when I'm looking at this game, I cannot believe 11 people made this game. But then you see the people who are behind it, and you go, yeah, that's why it's a great game. If you don't know anything about Neon Giant, they're a Swedish company. But there's people from them that's worked on Bulletstorm, Far Cry 3, Gears of War, Wolfenstein, and Doom. The Ascent just released today on Game Pass, and it looks like everybody is playing this game right now. I'm enjoying the crap out of it. From the graphics to the gameplay, this is everything I've wanted in a game, and I want to talk to Josh and Jesse about this. What are our overall thoughts on the prologue and moving towards what this game could be? All the early reviews are looking good. Some of the reviews are not as high as expected, but I don't give a crap about gamer scores. I care about how I'm thinking about the game itself. But what a game!
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. What do you guys think?
It is the prettiest game I've ever seen.
Same here.
Crap, there's so much detail. Every space of that screen, everything in the foreground, background.
Mm-hmm.
It is so meticulously crafted. It looks crazy. There's little robots just working on stuff.
Yeah.
The distance of things. There's little bridges in the background.
Yeah.
I've never seen something so realized in a game, and just even though it's an isometric game, it just oozes atmosphere, it oozes style.
Yeah. It reminds me of old school games like Baldur's Gate, and if you ever played those games, the artistry was so detailed at the time. Everything was so detailed. You walked into a mansion and you saw the tiles and everything like that, and you were just blown away with the detail. And I know it's 2021, but it the same feeling that you're talking about. That's the same feeling that I got back when I was starting to play those games. Just the level of detail in terms of their world creating, and it's so exciting. Like he was saying, I literally walked in and picked up a data pad, and I was sold, because there was just computers that you could, it's all atmospheric, but it has a really, really good effect, and the sounds of the robots and everything. Yeah. And the combat is
what I think the combat play is great because of that team. Josh, you were just talking about the way it's presented. The word that I feel like saying is the cinematography of this game is phenomenal, because the way the game's camera angles, or the way the game's the visual angles change, especially in that prologue, once you start, just start having this weird long third person perspective that changes through before you're about to enter that big elevator. I was just the game is properly like photoed, just like it's perfectly well placed, and it kind of like I just
Well
feel
directed.
like well directed. So I just feel like it's a good love letter to those old games, like you were saying, like Baldur's Gate, and definitely a big love letter to twin stick shooters.
Yeah.
But it also just feels completely fresh. It has a bit of like that really cool old school RPG of like the BioWare games where you're just like your dialogue trees. You're not asking other optional dialogue trees, but you're just finding more info. And I remember being like, if I wanted to rush this game, I'll just accept the mission. But I'm just like, oh yeah, tell me about the Ascent and then tell me about this. And I'm just like, I'm like, I know that's when I'm in a game because I'm just like, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to just, like go forward. I want to hear the little dialogue stuff. I want to hear all these little tidbits on this game. The data pad that you were saying, I was like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. What a fantastic game. Dan, I'm excited for you to try it.
I'm excited for me too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for Dan.
I peed a little
And it's
bit.
co-op.
Yeah,
Which is awesome.
We all four have no excuse. We have a game that's out, and we should try to do a nice little a nice little co-op time on it because
I'm going to work on quitting my job so I can play these games earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Don't pay any bills. Perhaps
Kids they don't need to eat, right?
Yeah.
I would say one thing that I've seen, because I watched a couple of reviews of it, they seem to do civilians in the game that will just like run around in fear when a big shootout happens. And the world itself is so big, in the review, they said you come across like little roadblocks of people just kind of holding up and trying to survive. And if you like are hostile to them, they will be hostile to you, but if you don't do anything, they won't.
Yeah.
But if you get into a huge firefight, you can get into these moments where you pull in other factions and just get into an all-out huge war, and there's civilians running around in fear, and it just gets so like chaotic and dense. Imagine seeing a game with this kind of fidelity, because this game looks, I don't think people understand how amazing this game visually looks, but there's no video online that you have to download a 4K image of this game or video, because it is absolutely insane how it looks. Imagine playing a third person shooter with this, with like civilians running around and the chaos this game does.
Oh my god. Taking
yourself and putting it down in a third person like Gears setting. This game makes me hype for third person shooters like the next Gears. If they could get something that looks even close to this, with this much chaos going on, with people running around, just the sense of density and atmosphere, they could get this into not like an because the isometric view, obviously they can do more with that because it's like a fixed view. They do a lot with it, and they do a great job with it. Yeah. But if they can get that where they're not kind of tricking, obviously, the system where, behind that barrier, there's nothing there probably, to render. So you can be a lot more, I'd say at this maybe stage of development of games coming out right now. Probably in like 3 or 4 years, you're going to see games that look like this, but fully 3D. Well, it's 3D, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy looking. It is crazy looking.
Third person or first person, yeah.
Yeah, just seeing the people running around and like a big shootout happening with like bombs going off.
Some proper
the sense of the sense of because like you get in shootouts in other games and stuff, but it's like you and the enemy. When you see these people like running around in fear, it kind of just adds that layer to the game where it feels like you are disrupting a world that is being lived in. So that's
Very great environment. Yeah.
Yeah, that impact you do. Like, Jesse, to speak to one of your favorite games, like when you're Geralt and you walk into town and the people are like, "Oh my god," and they're like running away from you.
Right.
The sense of just impacting the world. I feel like they do that in a arcade twin stick shooter, which is awesome.
Yeah. The world building, the ambiance on this game, it's a AAA level effort. I just got to say, this is the cyberpunk game that I wanted. You know what I mean?
At least the look of it. Yeah.
The look of it graphically, and then just the play of it. This is just all the fun. Boys, we're gonna do a 4-player co-op. Okay, we have to do it, even if it's like some sort of side mission. We'll have a lot of fun, but I'm definitely looking forward.
When you're streaming, just keep it open, friends only, and I'll hop on.
Jump on in.
Please.
I'm looking really forward to that. I really am. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. This is, and you know what? It's funny that you were talking about the technical aspects. I'm like, I don't think this game could run on Xbox One. I don't know if it could.
But it does.
Does it?
Yeah, it is on Xbox One.
Oh, I thought it was just a Series X and. Oh wow!
See, that's what the whole isometric look. You can be really
the resolutions.
Wow.
Yeah, and the game seems to scale really nicely. So
okay, I'd have to see some.
My friend's having a bug with it right now. Actually.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, he says something's not spawning for him, like some Chrome or something like that.
Yeah, I had one ghost little minion that I was like shooting that was like an invincible thing. I figured this game was going to have a few technical hiccups and all that stuff. It's a small team game. I mean, it's an indie game too, so I'm not the most judgmental guy. But anyway, that's the Ascent. I'm sure we're going to keep talking more about it during the weeks on, especially when we finish it. I don't think it's an extremely long game from what I'm told. I think the campaign's about the 15-hour mark. That's what I'm hearing, the main, but there's a ton of side missions, so
that is perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of a good little reminder. Anyway, moving on, let's talk briefly about games with gold. We kind of talked about it previously before, and we were kind of criticizing it and making it like, or maybe I was the one that was being a little too critical of it being weak, but I don't know why, but I feel like maybe Phil Spencer listened to our specific podcast, and said, hey, those guys are right. Those guys are exactly right. Let's release some decent bangers for games with gold. And for August, we've got 4 games. Darksiders 3, and that's it's actually quite a few pretty well-reviewed game. Yooka-Laylee, I want to say Yooka-Laylee, or is it Ukulele?
Ukulele.
Ukulele. Ukulele. Lost Planet 3, and then another game called Guru, Mark of the Wolves.
Lost Planet franchise.
Yeah. I'm. You know what? I think I've
never played 3.
I never played 3 either. I just was about to say. Yeah.
I only played 1 actually, and I loved it. I loved the whole concept of it. It's so cool. It also had a grappling hook.
Yeah.
Grappling hook was the multiplayer was fun in that game, the first one.
Yeah.
But I heard the third one is
kind of like
more
the
of
thing, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of had
like
that vibe.
Yeah.
The snowy vibe, right? But I heard the third one is more like just a hardcore single-player game. Even the moments you're in the mech is all first person. So kind of like, almost like a mech warrior route for that one. So I never played it, and I'm very interested into just checking it out, and if it's good, maybe going through it. But Ukulele's fun. I do own that game.
Yep.
Darksiders 3 is more of a... If you played the original Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2, that game feels more of a action Devil May Cry-ish Zelda game, where Darksiders 3 really goes down the Dark Souls route.
Okay.
Like every
new game now. Yep.
They're like Dark Souls is a thing, right?
Yeah. It's and is this top down instead of it being a third person? Is that what I remembered hearing?
No, that's Genesis.
That's Genesis.
So this is third person.
Okay.
Yeah. Genesis was good. I beat that. It was like a twin stick shooter, kind of like the Ascent.
But, because that's on Game Pass, if I remember. Darksiders Genesis. Okay, awesome.
It's good.
Nice.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you can, and I think Yuko. I'm gonna just keep butchering it, guys. Sorry, I don't know how to say it.
Ukulele.
I think that's made by the original Banjo team or some members of the original Banjo team. So that'd be pretty interesting.
I think they're making Banjo, to be honest.
I
don't know what that team
weird
is
rumor
making.
mill as well.
Right.
They haven't announced anything yet. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they haven't announced any games. People keep on asking for a Banjo.
Yeah.
What better? And Rare doesn't want to make a Banjo game. They said they just want to make original titles.
Yeah.
So what better than? And even the ukulele team came out and said, "Hey, we would love to make another Banjo. So why don't you give a team who made the original Banjo,
give them the shot?"
And give them that Microsoft check and just be like, "Hey, and what better than a trailer coming out saying from the original creators of Banjo-Kazooie?"
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Perfect Game Pass game. Perfect Game Pass game because we could use a nice little.
Every game, Andrew, is a perfect Game Pass game.
I know. But I like saying that just so because I don't know. It says
will it into existence.
It just
well,
will.
if it's a Microsoft first party, it will come to Game Pass.
Yeah.
So
Talking about a marvel of a game coming up later in terms of getting it onto console.
Yeah. Excited. Forza Horizon 5. I want to talk about it because it seems like a weekly thing that we're just going to keep talking about it because we keep getting nice little snippets about it. Obviously, Playground showed a little bit of the Forza Horizon 5. How this game looks so good.
11 biomes.
Wow. Josh, I'm like looking at this and going like, I think this might be the graphical winner of this year. Like for graphics, like, you know what I mean? It just, wow. This is, I mean, what can I say? Everything that we've seen so far.
Realistic.
Yeah, it's just getting like the locations just look great. The canyons look phenomenal. The tropical areas, it just looks like oh my God. Every part of this game looks amazing. Great choice for Mexico, by the way. Like Mexico is a very interesting, geographical location and it's perfect. Yeah, I don't know what
it's a huge Mexico. Xbox has a huge fan base in Mexico.
Yeah.
I feel like them bringing it to Mexico is a nice little tip of their hat to their fans out there, which is nice.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't know if we need to keep talking more about Forza Horizon 5. I just want to see it in action now. I just like everything that I'm seeing, every little clip. From, past week we got the little audio stuff. This week now we're getting the biomes, and I'm just looking at it going, oh my God, wow, this is just...
And seasons are back.
Yeah, which is going to be fantastic, It
won't be like it was in 4 where it kind of changes the entire map. It seems like it will be changing sections of the map.
Yeah.
Based on the seasons.
Yeah.
So like if the snowy mountains are not snowy, then the mountains might be snowy in one area during a certain season. But there will be some staple areas that just stay warm, as Mexico does.
Yeah.
So.
I wanted to add something. I just realized, guys, I apologize for not putting this in the podcast, but this is a little the Forza games, just because a few articles have been on it. I don't think this is a huge deal, but did you guys hear about Forza Motorsport 7? Any of the news about
7?
Yeah, it's going
the
off.
New one?
Yeah, and the last Forza Motorsport 7. It is ceasing to exist on Game Pass. It's a first-party game. It's like they're saying it's in its final years of like what the content is, and they're taking it out of Game Pass in September. I'll show you guys the links and all that stuff. I think it's more about the next.
Tend to do that with licensing.
Yeah, I think
they stop paying for licensing for that game, and if it's not something. So if you've purchased the game, probably more so, like you can download it whenever you want and still play it.
You're good.
But for something like that, I don't think. Once and we have Forza Horizon coming, so don't worry, people. And we got Motorsport, which I think Motorsport. We won't be having that issue.
That's what I'm thinking.
It seems like Motorsport is more of a platform that will be growing from there.
Perhaps free to play. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, no, it's just some little thing. Just because there's a couple articles saying this might be the drawback of Xbox Game Pass, and I go, I think it was like a really minor reason for it. It was like this kind of little weird little thing, but they were also saying things like, hey, they'll discount it when it's going off, and you can buy it if you really want to buy it. Remember, folks, you can always buy a game on Game Pass as well if you really hate to see it go away. So just a little fun fact, but yeah. Fun fact about Forza. Now, I want to talk more about tech. We briefly were talking about how amazing, how the Coalition was about to show Unreal Engine 5 and how, what they're working on. And we finally got something. If you guys didn't see, there's obviously some videos, but there is also a minute to 30 second long, really cool Unreal Engine 5 test from the Coalition. It looks like they're showing a brand new IP from this demo. We're not too sure from what's coming next, but Dan, our resident Coalition, actually, let's say resident tech guy, talk to me about this, my friend.
It's looking amazing. I'm not sure if it is a new IP or if it's just a tech demo. I think they were announcing it just as a tech demo.
Yeah, I think if they are hinting at an IP, it's probably just in the look alone.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks absolutely phenomenal, though. The nanite and lumen features that they've got going on in there are just like breathtaking. It's crazy how good that that tech is coming along. Like the detail in all of the textures and everything they've got going on, and just the beauty of it. Not to mention the the new lighting system that's working in there and illuminating everything with all the ray tracing. It's looking absolutely phenomenal. They just had like a giant like double pyramid with some red light glowing in between. Mm-hmm. And just showing off the reflection off the glossy black pyramid and all the reflections and everything just looked absolutely mint. And just like the red glow just brightening up close to the end and seeing it fill that chasm and seeing the shadows off the pillars and everything. It's just looking absolutely fantastic. Not to mention the newer character models and everything they were showing off as well.
Amazing.
Going in so close, you can see every little pore. It's funny because it's almost it's hard for it to be so amazingly surprising because this is the stuff we were seeing in like movies not super long ago, but at the same time it's amazing to see it and realize that that's in a new like video game engine where that amount of detail and that amount of like flawless 3D rendering and everything is like live captured with live controls given
real time, right?
Yeah, real time just happening, and it's just insane watching him zoom in and go around a face. Like it's got every single
the hairs,
detail,
right?
pore, hairs. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just it's crazy. Like the hair physics have always been one of the absolute most difficult things to render, even in videos as well.
Yeah.
I remember one of the biggest stories about that was the Incredibles. The daughter Violet has one of the hardest. Like they innovated so many things and brought the technology up so much higher. Just the things you could get out of it. Just by trying to make her hair work, because it's just pure black hair and you have to have motion and fluidity to it and everything, and that's like incredibly difficult to do from what I understand.
And now it's just like a slider.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, here's hair, and then we're going to put like a fluid system onto it, so it moves like naturally. It's insane. Amazing. And I find that, especially with Unreal 5, it seems like they're pushing it not just as like a game engine, but they're using it in all sorts of movies and TV shows.
Yep.
They use it primarily in like The Mandalorian used it a ton. Yep. So it's becoming, because if you can have 3D models and render them at that high of a fidelity in real time, directors are even taking like a camera that can see into a 3D space. So they're looking into the screen, directing the scene, but seeing the 3D it's just seeing the environment in the screen itself that they're filming.
Yeah.
They did that a lot with the Madden, like in the story mode for like Madden or like any of the sports game.
Yeah.
That's how they filmed it. They filmed it using like a camera, but they can see the game engine there. So they're like in a green screen car, like talking, but like the director can see the full scene. So it's interesting that game engines are getting there, but the amount of power that they were getting out of the Series X and the S, from what they described, from what I saw, they're saying they're pretty they had the demo running at, they said they got it to about 45 frames per second or something like that at 4K or 1440p. But they said they are confident with working with Epic that they can get it at 4K at 1080 at 60 frames per second, and get the Series S running at 1440p.
Yep.
So I feel like the engine more so highlights the Series S, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Because if they can get something that at that fidelity running on the Series S, the fact that they even got Flight Simulator to work on the Series S is a testament of actually how powerful that console is. And they're even showing like an example of like the Series S running the Ascent over the Xbox One S or the One X. And even though it technically has a slower GPU, the CPU is like above and beyond, they're saying like, yeah, no, it runs the Ascent way better. But yeah, I feel like the tech demo really highlighted the Series S, which I wanted it to. Even though they were showing it mostly running on the Series X, they did mention the Series X, which was the Series S, which was really nice. But I'm excited to see what they're. I just want to see what they're working on next, right? So
same here.
It's going to get better. Like, this is just the start of that engine.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to get to the point where they get more efficient at it and everything, and it's just going to look better. It's going to like feel better and run better. They're going to get all those efficiencies out. It's going to be good.
I think,
and it looks like Microsoft is giving them time to actually fiddle with the engine. So
it's time.
Next, their next project, they will be able to really pull
really shine with it.
The power to exactly.
Yeah, I think they've been giving them like a 3-year cycle. I would love to see Coalition get that extra year, make a Gears of War game, or I'm guessing it's Gears 6 is their next project, but they're also probably working on something else as well. But
I heard they're working on a new IP.
Nice, good for them. Very talented team. I think they've proven who they are, and they've done a fantastic job. Really enjoyed the last Gears game as well. But yeah, I mean, that's, tech of Gears 5. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Gears 5. Unreal Engine 5, it just, everything that we've been teased about looks phenomenal. Like, I think I'm at a point where I'm like, I just now want to see the games of it, just like you guys, as well. But, what a future to behold. Now,
look pretty.
Oh yeah, it does look pretty. Now, here's the part where, as mentioned before, I was talking earlier in our intro, we're going to have our heavier discussions. The next two subjects, I just want to give you guys a heads up. This is going to be a bit more on the heavier focus on video games. This isn't going to be the lighter side, as I said before. I just want to let you know before, these discussions are good, I will make sure that I will tell everybody who's been watching this podcast or listening, I'll have a good little story to say, especially about Flight Simulator after this all part is, and I hope it's worth it. But before that, I want to talk about both of these two stuff, and we'll start with the first one. Before I say this, I want to say this is more about a human rights issue. This is not a criticization on the Chinese folks and the people, but I felt that I needed to say, just because sometimes when you say these, there's that few mind of people that just go, oh, and they're all like that, or you know how it is. There's always that dumb idiot that just starts to take this out of context and puts that and and they'll make YouTube videos out of it. I don't know what they'll do. Anyway.
But the government, not the people.
But the government, not the people. We're here to talk about Tencent. Tencent is continuing to gobble up companies and made 40% over market value and just bought Sumo Digital. This is about how can companies with any moral backbone support companies that are so heavily in bed with the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, knowing that they actively censor their games for references of Taiwan, Tiananmen Square, or anything referencing to the horrible things the Chinese government does. One, how do we feel about this? And two, how do we feel about no one really talking about this? How it's being kind of done in the shadows with no major outlets speaking out besides people like us and other YouTubers and some kind of, like some occasional influencers talking about it. We talked about Blitzchung, you know what I mean? When he got a moment to say that, you know what happened to him. If you've been following anything what happened with Blitzchung when, he said that. I want to talk about this because, which is an important thing he's talked about. Anyway, let's talk about this. I want to have an important discussion with you all, guys, because Josh, you brought this up. I remember being like, hey, I think we're ready to talk about it, and I think we should talk about it. I remember being a little bit scared and hesitant about it, but I'm going like, hey, you know what? We're a relatively unknown podcast. I don't care. I need to talk about something when there's a human rights issue. I'm a Sri Lankan man. I'm a Sri Lankan Tamil man. Shit happened in my country a long time ago, and we had to talk about it because my people were involved in the genocide. And I feel like sometimes it's an important discussion to talk about these things. I'm going to start with you, Josh, because you're the one who brought this one. I'm sorry, if anybody else wants to chime in, please do.
Well, so with Tencent, they are, don't kid yourself, they are very much in bed with the Chinese government. They have censored games in the past, and I could totally understand why Sumo Digital took the money. They paid 40% over their market value. If a company says, hey, I'm going to buy you for $1 point something billion and you're Sumo Digital, how much did Sony pay for Insomniac? Was it like
$300 million?
Like $300 million? Insomniac.
Yeah.
And then Sumo Digital goes over $1 billion. So one, that's already shady in itself.
Yeah.
Like you're paying 40% over market value for that company. If I was them though, I would have taken it. Yeah. And I would have just left the company afterwards. But
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how could they pass up that offer? It's over $1 billion in the end. These people have families and the future of their families to look after. But in the end, it's dirty money, right?
Yeah.
It seems like
Chinese
it's like
government. The Chinese government does awful things. They have concentration camps in their country today. They oppress free thought, and they even have a social system in a Black Mirror episode. There's nothing like we were saying at the beginning of this conversation, there's nothing wrong with Chinese people. Chinese people are lovely people. I live in a primarily Chinese neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But when I go to, let's say, a Pacific Mall up the street, there's a line of Chinese people with huge signs up protesting the communist Chinese government, talking about how they want to destroy the human race, talking stories that they lived through, that this government does to their own people, forcing them to have less children. They're just
I'm not the least bit surprised on Sumo's end, just taking that deal.
It's so much money though, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's so much money, and just with a government with that kind of background and everything that are looking to purchase stuff like that. How do you purchase your company like that? How do you argue with paying 40% over and just who knows what other stipulations were in that or unsaid things? Not that there's necessarily anything like that, but you never know. And it's better to take the money, leave, take some employees with you, start a new company.
Yeah,
at that
point,
I think
it was more
that
message to me. That message to me, 100% is just in the reflection of what's going on in there, and it's control and censorship, right? That wasn't a valid bid to own a company for the better of the company. That is forcefully coming in because you are quite the giant that they are there, and coming in and taking over that company, probably to continue to censor content in and out of China, and it's it's wrong.
Well,
It's wrong.
well,
The whole situation is just
what's
wrong.
the easiest thing you can do to get your message across? It's good PR, right?
Yeah.
You want to control messages and take words like Taiwan or like how in bed Activision is with the Chinese government, to the point where when they released the Call of Duty trailer,
Yeah.
and it had a scene of Tiananmen Square in the trailer, it took like an hour for them to take it down and repost it with that removed from it.
Yeah.
That is bullshit.
Yeah.
That is bullshit. And even John Cena coming out a couple weeks ago in Mandarin apologizing to the Chinese people because he said something about Taiwan. Like, come on. That is totalitarian-like stuff. People are grandparents, and things we fought against. Like, our country, Canada, we don't have a pretty past, and a lot of stuff is coming to light now about our Native American past.
Yeah.
And the horrible things our government and the Catholic Church did to the Native people. And these are things we have to reflect on and learn from and go from there. But when there are still places in this world, like China, who have concentration camps, and things are going on as we speak right there, and companies are just totally okay with getting in bed with a company that will actively censor you if you even decide to mention something like that. It's tough. It's
one of the most famous
to
quotes in the world. It just like those who forget history are doomed to repeat it.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And
You can't censor that stuff and just take it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta learn from it.
And and Taiwan's a real country, and free Hong Kong, and do your research, especially with the Muslim population in
the Uyghur community.
The Uyghur community. Reports of wigs coming out of that country that have human hair.
Mm-hmm.
Just awful, awful stuff. And Tencent is actively known to censor.
Yep.
Because the Chinese government wants them to do that. It very much puts things into question for pieces of entertainment that come out of companies that are in bed with them. So at the end of this conversation, all I really want to say is, when you're buying something or supporting something, really look into it.
Absolutely.
See what their background is, and know what you're supporting, because the world can be an amazing place, and there could be very amazing people out there and amazing places to live. But then there can be a lot of crap out there too.
Yeah.
And don't hide yourself from that, but don't pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Don't sweep.
And that's all I really want to say.
Yeah. You guys.
The
internet, right? You can't put
the internet, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
You got to look into more than just the face value of the product now, and you got that information, you got that access to that information, you got to look it up and do your due diligence too, if you want the world to be a better place.
Face value,
Yeah.
We got another company to talk about that, definitely will, make me question about picking up one of their products again.
Absolutely.
Andrew.
And our next discussion, and this is really the bigger discussion of the week, and it's obviously, I'm sure everybody has heard of it. It's Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard is being sued by the state of California. This lawsuit's been 2 years in the making for sexual harassment and frat boy work environment. This is obviously some awful stuff. There's just the stories. We're not going to get too deep into it because I think some of them are just a little, really appalling. The thing that I think I've been kind of annoyed with is Blizzard's awful response to it, and it's just sad that they're very tone deaf. Their PR is having a nightmare, and good for them because you know what? These are human beings. These are young women who are probably been playing these games for a long time, and they're probably starting on an entry level position. The things that they had to go with, I just think it's completely awful. I'd like to just read a little bit about the lawsuit, if you guys don't mind. Female employees almost universally confirmed that working for defendants were akin to working in a frat house, which invariably involved male employees drinking and subjecting female employees to sexual harassment with no repercussion. Cube crawls. This is disgusting. In defendant's office were common, and male employees proudly came into work hungover. Similarly, male employees would play games during work, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and make numerous jokes about rape. As a product of this frat boy culture, women were subjected to numerous sexual comments and advances, groping and unwanted physical touching, and other forms of harassment. A female employee noted that random male employees would approach her on defendant's work site, comment her on her breast. Female employees working through the World of Warcraft team noted that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory comments about rape, and otherwise engage in demeaning behavior. This behavior was known to supervisors and indeed encouraged by them, including a male supervisor openly encouraging a male subordinate to buy a prostitute to cure his bad mood. There's some names, there's some higher up people. I don't want to get into it, but there's one individual who was nicknamed the Crosby suit. After Bill Cosby, which is just completely awful. There is also a really, really awful, sad story about a young woman who killed herself, who committed suicide after one of her, an image of her was shared online. Guys, what can I say? This is just awful, and I grew up playing Blizzard's games all my life. The 1990s was not an Xbox, was a PC with StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3, and once I got World of Warcraft, I was completely in. Guys, I loved
Warcraft player too.
I loved this company.
Warcraft original.
I wanted to, guys, and the sad thing is, I wanted to work for this company, and to think about the people that were playing these games, especially the younger folks and these younger women who, most likely they were these young women who spent, all their life, loving these games and having to, be a part of this. It's just pretty sad. I'm here with 3 fathers. You guys all have kids. You guys all have daughters. I don't know. I mean, I want you guys to talk about it because for me, I don't have daughters, but I got my 3 nieces and they're growing up, and I'm kind of
you don't have to have a daughter to be a decent person.
Yeah, that's true. It's just
right?
Guys, there's a difference between frat boy culture. Like I kind of was in a frat house, but there's a way you just also just treat people and women, and there's just a workplace discussion that's just, but this is just completely
all
awful.
The professionalism, quite simple. That's just
out the window.
Yeah.
Right. And that type of conduct shouldn't be carried on in companies that call themselves corporations or are responsible for making a lot of money. Are multinational companies with gender and every kind of diversity that you can have. It's unfortunate.
It's surprising to see with a company that's so big, that's catering to such a large population of gamers that is
Right.
including
Yes,
females and everything,
Yeah.
and
of course.
whoever else. Like there's
Yeah.
just it's ridiculous to see that amount of unprofessionalism and sexual harassment in a workplace that's supposed to be one of the most like a
Champions.
game working for like a game company has always been the dream for thousands and thousands of people. I wanted to be one for a long time without like before I found out about all the crunch time and the time you'd have to spend away from family and friends and everything just to get one of those games done. It's a hard working environment as it is. I can't imagine what it's like to be like a woman in that section and just trying to prove yourself over and over again with no actual like real compensation for it and everything. These people are getting paid less, they're getting harassed at work and everything. Like the pressures of all of that on top of like what I got out of heading towards that path for, like I just didn't want to do it with the extremely long hours and like the time putting into it and everything. Like I love gaming and that would be a dream come true, but I wouldn't put it above my family or anything. I can't believe that there's such a large group of people that are putting their mothers and sisters and people that they've got in their lives in that situation.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, what blows my mind is, like, working for Blizzard, a lot of these game developers, that is their life goal, to work at Blizzard. So you get into your dream job and then you deal with this kind of culture, this kind of attitude. You can even see it in a video from, I think it was back in 2012, of a lady who comes up to the podium and says, hey, could we like get female characters that don't look like they came out of a Victoria's Secret catalog? And they essentially just mock her in front of everyone. And it's really disgusting when you kind of when you look at it in general, but like especially in context now. But as a father, when you look at the statistics of, and we are four guys talking about this, mind you.
Yeah, it's true.
But when you look at the statistics of just females getting sexually assaulted, like, out of 10, how many you possibly in that pool is an outrageous number.
Yeah.
So what breaks my heart is, my little girl will one day go into school, into the workforce, and she will probably get fucking assaulted from some fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for women in general. That is something that they have to deal with. I hope she has, I hope I have a good enough relationship for if, God forbid, something does happen, she can talk to me about that.
Yeah.
But
which is the most
odds
important
of
thing.
something bad happening is very high. And that breaks my heart.
Yeah.
That
It's
breaks
pretty
my
scary.
heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
And no women should have to deal with that. No parents should have to know that. And to kind of know that that might even happen inevitably sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no.
Go to a bar to hang out with your friends and then some fucking asshole comes up to you and assaults you. Even grabbing or verbally, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking
you don't.
matter.
Yeah.
Don't put your hands on women and don't assume what you're saying. People around you are taking it as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous even in high school for me. I had longer hair and everything. I was a big metalhead and stuff. Just walking down the street, sometimes I would get like catcalls and everything. And when they realized
I showed his penis to my wife on the way to work. Opened the car door and showed her his penis. What the hell? But
just insane.
You even getting catcalled for just having long hair. Like, that's so ridiculous. And I don't know who raised these men, Who raised these men to be like that?
Yeah.
I know a little overtime and everything, and I think Jesse's got a full stop soon, so
yeah.
If he needs to, we'll let him go here, and I'll rearrange.
It is unfortunate, but as we are talking about this, I do have to get to my own daughter. So which is important, and that will continue so that she knows that I have her back always, and that she is inevitably probably going to encounter the same kind of problems. But we as fathers have to be there, and we have to teach our sons the right way and how to be respectable men. And
That's right.
I could talk at length about this, and it would go completely off topic in terms of video games. And you know what? That might be a discussion that has to happen. But it's a very serious matter. But thank you, everybody. I do have to go. You guys have a great night. Tune in, and we'll be playing some Ascent. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too, buddy.
But yeah, no, it's crazy that these females have to deal with this kind of work environment, and one of them committed suicide, man.
That's the one scares me. Yeah, that's the one.
That's a scary, and for the state of California to feel like they need to actually sue the company after a 2-year investigation. And there was a response actually today that they were showing private DMs from Facebook chat conversation.
Yep.
With some of these people that have been accused for these actions. And the things they say in these conversations is disgusting. So it just kind of reaffirms everything on top of it. And they said they called it the Cosby Suite because of Cosby's sweater and how disgusting the room looked like that. But I don't know. There was allegations around that time when it was happening. So I don't know. I feel like that is a half-ass answer. But in the end, just be good people. Just be good.
Yeah.
Don't be a disgusting pig.
I just, I mean, just to finish, I just hope that, this comes solved and, like, Activision Blizzard, like, not only just listens to them, but, like, there's some justice to be had from this. You know what I mean? You know what? People are boycotting the games. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm not going to play their games. I'm not looking forward to their games. I don't give a crap. I'm just not touching it. I don't care. I know people are going to be like, well, separate whatever, or even apparently there's some Activision people who are not in Blizzard, who are not in whatever. They were just like, they're also, protesting with, in solidarity. And I think that's right. I'm not going to play anything until this thing is solved. And I don't know if I feel the same way. You know what I mean? This is
real action.
Yeah,
real. I want to see a real precedent set for like this sort of thing moving forward. For like, it's ridiculous that it's not a precedent already. That like this shouldn't be a thing. This should be something that is properly like punished and removed from that workplace.
Yeah,
I'm just shocked how long it took for this to actually come out. To be honest,
absolutely overdue. Right? It's completely overdue.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I guess it's just better than never, which is like a hard thing to say. But if this never happened, I think this isn't good news, but this is overdue. And I honestly am hoping for the state of California to take this over. And I really hope Activision Blizzard also stops with their tone deaf responses. There was like responses of like, I think there was one email that even said like, oh, this was done so quickly and fast. It was made like it's been a lawsuit 2 years in the making. So I don't think it's been rushed. You know what I mean? So Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the Activision Blizzard thing.
My prayers and thoughts are to the family members.
Thank you. I totally forgot about that.
And victims of this situation.
Yeah.
Like none of you guys should have to be dealing with that, and you have the support of the real good people. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's, you know what? It's not just Activision Blizzard. You're hearing stuff for Ubisoft right now. So I hope this, you know what I mean? I hope this gets solved, and I hope there's more people that's talking about things that's happening to them. You know, it's becoming something that, it's been on the rise. But, for the gaming community, we're just like everybody else, right? We're people, we're human beings, and There's some, there's just some horrible things that's happening. But yeah, that's now. I said that's all the news. I promised that I'd kind of like switch to something to just kind of talk about, and I wanted to talk about this because we before this podcast was recording, you guys
on a good
on a good note,
start.
you guys are all talking about Flight Sim. I want to tell you guys something really great in Flight Sim, Flight Simulator. I don't know why I'm calling it Flight Sim, but so yes, obviously my landing is terrible, but you are obviously allowed to use the world map and go everywhere you want. I've mentioned before that I am I'm from Sri Lanka. I was born in Sri Lanka. I left during the mid 90s, and I haven't come back since 1996. I really miss it. My parents are, Sri Lankan Tamils who, survived, a big pogrom, or actually it's the genocide of our people, and they had to hide during that time and all that stuff, but they always talk about how much they miss Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a good place to visit now. It's a great place to come
home in the end, right?
It's their home. I've got an estate there, and I've got like a boat that's apparently part of my inheritance a sailboat, a giant sailboat actually. And so I need to come and visit, but obviously with COVID, I couldn't get a chance to go. I was hoping to go actually last year, but my mom does not like watching a lot of video games. She watches the podcast occasionally. She has no idea what we're talking about most of the time. But I told my mom to come upstairs. Mom, I need to show you something. I have to show you something. My mom has lived in Sri Lanka all her life. Tamil's her first language, and all that stuff. And Sri Lanka, it's all of her life. And and then she came to the 90s, and she's been a Canadian since. And I watched this woman who is in her 60s who has not seen her home country in a long time. She has a lot of phone calls with a lot of family members, checking up on them. And I'm seeing this, like my mom almost in tears, just like me, just flying around Sri Lanka, and she's just like, "Oh, can you go to this area? This is where I grew up. I grew up near the farms area." And she's just like, I can just see her smiling. I can see her eyes almost in tears. And I think I have to say that's the beauty of games. It's not just one of those things where it's like these experiences of goals and things to finish. It's just sometimes the most simplest thing of a game about flying, showing places places you've never been, or places you haven't been in almost 26 years, and how beautiful that is. That's what I love about gaming. That's why I feel so happy to be in an Xbox podcast, because I get to talk about something that I really love. And we get to talk about also the horrible things, and we get to talk about it, but we also get to just show some light of something that's great, even for about a person who's never going to touch a video game, and how that powerful that felt for her. So I wanted to talk to you about that. Anyway, you guys give me some little Flight Sim little things. Anything interesting you guys go to?
I flew past the BMO building in Toronto, and I thought that was interesting because my mom used to work in that building, and I used to work in the base of that building.
Oh.
So flying past that building and just seeing it actually says BMO on the side, Bank of Montreal for non-Canadians. I thought that was really interesting. And just like flying up Yonge Street and finding like the 401 and just using like the landmarks I know of Toronto to find where my house is. And when May and Dan used to live with each other when we were roommates, when we were younger, before our kids, we used to have a sweet apartment on the 19th floor.
I was visiting that apartment a lot. Yeah, I remember that.
View the whole city at night. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, our bedroom windows. It was it was an awesome apartment. I'm so glad when I found that place. It's this price. I'm like 3-bedroom, 3 people. Yeah, $500 each. I think it was like.
We got the corner too. Yeah.
What a steal!
See the fireworks across the whole city every Canada Day and every night.
Top floor.
Yeah.
Oh man, but there was one night, Andrew, where the ceiling leaked. Straight up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and there was like this much water on the floor. It was crazy. They had to bring in like a garbage can, and it was just like pouring through the ceiling. Dude, it was insane.
I remember getting home from work and just seeing all the water.
Oh my
I could not
god.
believe it.
Oh man.
A great apartment besides that little little mess right there. But,
Wrap that up quick for us.
Flight Sim is it's mind blowing that it's the world. You want to go to Toronto, go to Toronto. You want to go to Vancouver, go to Vancouver. You want to fly over Canada, do it. You can even follow that highway that goes across our country. I watched someone's video where he was just following that road across Canada, and he made it across Canada. And it's just by navigating the real landmarks. It's insane. Fantastic. What an accomplishment that game is.
Yeah.
It's just
and it shows that cloud streaming is real.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can fly even over my area way up north here. A lot of trees. Mostly trees.
Yeah. You got to send me the ping. I got to go up and be like, there's Dan's house.
Yeah.
I got to move up here.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Maybe we should even do some. I think there's multiplayer, right? So like maybe we could fly all together or something like that. Is that multiplayer?
I can't wait for the Top Gun update.
Yeah. Oh,
the jets. Yeah.
That's gonna be really cool.
That's gonna be
awesome.
nice.
Yeah. That's gonna.
That was the one difficult part. Trying to fly over my house from an airport. There are not any airports close to here, and it is real time flying.
Yeah.
It takes its sweet time.
Oh my god.
That's as fast as it is.
Airport.
Yeah.
Right?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I mean, the world's beautiful, right? And I look at that game and I go, for me, like I don't care about the like beating whatever that I'm supposed to be doing. I'll do the tutorials because I gotta get on the landing. But I'm just looking at it going like, it's a great distracting game, guys. It's just such a good distracting game.
It's a beautiful like other layer to like I remember back in like elementary school and everything when Google Maps first came out, and just like looking at all these places that we'd never really seen before, seeing all these sites that like you couldn't really like beyond buying just a map or something. Like now you could actually see like satellite images of all these places and everything. There's people today that are still just discovering stuff that are satellite images that we've pulled from the satellites and everything, and they put on Google Maps. They're finding weird, crazy stuff that you can't really...
like UFOs under the ocean.
Yeah.
Right?
It's always funny when you see a YouTube video and they're like, look at this weird Google map. Like, is this like a UFO under the water here? Like,
right?
Oh, man.
See
hey,
what
the
really
Pentagon
happened in the
says they're
Bermuda
real.
Triangle.
So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
only in the year where COVID happened, where the Pentagon comes out and they're just like, yeah, UFOs, we don't know what they are and they're real, and the world's just like, whatever. And
yeah.
We're dealing with stuff right
just
now.
like, I'm just like, wait a minute. So UFOs are real?
Sort of.
Still unidentified, I mean.
Yeah. It's like unidentified, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't that just worse?
Right? It's funny that they hid it for so long, and now they're just like, it's just not identified. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of scarier. At least we thought you knew something before.
It's
what's that? I don't know who said it, but there's a quote where it's just like, if we're the only ones in the universe, it's as equally as terrifying if we're not alone.
Yes, absolutely.
Both sides of the spectrum are both just as terrifying in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
I'd prefer aliens. I'd prefer to see some aliens, mostly because I just feel like I would love, if it's during my lifetime, I would love to go to a different planet. I know it's the most like lamest thing to say, but I just think,
how would we do this podcast if you're on Mars? The delay, the latency.
Oh
my God, man!
It will be fun. It will be so fun. You know what I mean? I'll just be like,
it ahead of time.
Yeah, maybe on like 0G or something. I could be like, guys, I'm
curious if when they go to Mars, if they'll if they'll design the ship so it puts like a relay station like every 1,000 kilometer or whatever like distance, so they can like hook the internet like in this like line that goes across space. I don't know, the future is wild, man. They said they're going to be on Mars by like 2025 so
we'll see,
right?
Maybe.
You never know if Bezos can go
this
from
is an Xbox
wanting right. If all these billionaires can go from wanting to go to space and everything to riding dick rockets to space, then I mean, why can't we?
Yeah. edge of space.
Bezos said one smart thing in an interview after that whole thing is we need to take the reason, space tourism is a good stepping stone to go back and forth is because we need to take industry off planet, right?
Yeah.
To mine asteroids, to make all these resources that we destroy our planet with. Let's just do it up in space, man. Who cares? So if we can get, like he said, industry off planet, then we can focus on bettering our planet, because everyone's like, well, why are we so focused on space? Let's fix our planet. I'm like, well, if we can get into space, then we can still have all this the shit we love now, but not destroy our planet getting it, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But then the world turns into the Ascent.
Yeah.
So.
Or the Cylons are going to come in or something. I don't know. We'll see. They'll finally come in again. Yeah. All right, folks. That's everything for today.
That's UFO talk for today.
Yeah. Come join our next podcast where we talk about
aliens,
the occult.
The occult. Anything? Yes.
Do demons exist?
The after show.
Doom Eternal for sure.
Which that trailer for the new Neil Blomkamp movie Demonic looks really cool. But we won't.
Big fan of that filmmaker. All right. Okay, folks. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. I'm Andrew Ravindran with Josh James and Dan Robertson, and also Jesse Pearson, who left but did say bye. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for watching. If you love our podcast, if you love our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page, hit the like button, feel free to leave a comment down. You can also find us on audio only on Spotify, Google Podcasts. Just look at Xbox North. Also on Reddit, Instagram, Xbox North Podcast, and for Twitter, at Xbox North. Sorry, for Twitter, at North Xbox.
Yeah.
Right?
And we also have a Twitch. I will be hopefully streaming more in the distant future on our Twitch channel. A lot more stuff.
Perhaps the Ascent
will be things to come.
Yeah. All right.
Perhaps the Ascent.
Yeah, please. All right, boys. Thank you so much. It's always a great time. I can't believe we're 10 episodes in.
Yeah.
All right. Toodaloo,
everybody. Right? Double digits.
I know.
Almost a teenager.
All right. All right, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Bye.